Hello and welcome to the RWBY podcast for Volume 5, Episode 5. I am the world's greatest pole dancer.
Your plumber should be fired.
Yeah. Mediocrity. Yeah, just random pole in the middle of the basement. That's what the cape is tied to.
God, you need to fire your plumber. He needs to get his union certification stripped. So,
Pretty sure that's some sort of hazard, yeah.
yeah, this is breaking a code somewhere. We just need to find it, or we'll just write it in.
Yeah.
It's me, high-powered. This is gonna be a. Just brace yourselves for the ranting that's gonna go on with this episode. There's a few small things that I liked in this episode, but outside of that, like,
yeah. I am...
Buckle up.
Yeah.
Buckle up and bring your shit stompers.
I am extremely excited because after months and months and months and months of waiting, I finally was able to pre-order a Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid statue. There's only a Kana one out, but I got the fucking Kana one. I'm still waiting for the Toru one. But it's something.
Which one's Kana? Is Kana the thick dragon lolly?
Yeah, the dragon. Yeah, the dragon lolly.
Dragon. Yeah.
I only watched that show and I know the characters' names.
Finally got a Dragon Maid statue on pre-order. Won't be here till March, but at least I have something to keep me happy while I just fucking mourn how shitty this episode was. I am dude with the heck. Oh, also got some Nichijou statues that are like really rare from the Sega vending machines that I never thought I would get.
Nice.
So, yeah. Nerd statue hype.
And I don't know why it took me so long to realize this, but Flawless Girls actually count as monster girls. So yes,
this is true.
They technically count. So yeah, I've got research to do later. I'm Sakugan.
Fires up that EX hentai as soon as the web podcast is off.
My icon is Salem. What do you expect from me?
And I am here looking forward, kind of, to talking about a much-needed necessary sacrifices.
I see what you did there.
And so it begins.
All right, so
we're
just gonna burn through this first part real quick.
Oh boy!
So the episode.
I feel like this is gonna be a short podcast.
So the episode opens.
Well, depending on how you and Dude decide to rant about this.
I'm so annoyed that I probably won't be able to rant for that long.
So the episode opens on Blake and Sun trying to recruit people, which they didn't take my advice and do a bake sale, which that would actually been kind of like pretty adorable.
With how bad this episode was, the bake sale would undoubtedly have been better than this.
And so they fail miserably at it with a few like funny character moments where whatever the big ram guy got pulled back by his mom, like the voice of Cartman in my head was like, "Bit me," as he's getting pulled away. They then talk.
I don't think she was going to give him more Hot Pockets.
Yeah, no more Hot Pockets. The Sun then talks to Blake about Adam. And a little bit of like, what she thinks about him, which, it's kind of nice to get in, but I feel like maybe we should have gotten this earlier, or maybe there would have been a better place to deliver that information.
Or gotten more than a one-word label.
Yeah. One-word labels don't exactly work too well.
We also learned that that monster girls are real, and they exist in Mistral, in Remnant with mermaid faunus.
So,
yep.
So that's good. And it's like the normal mermaid, not the reverse one. So very important.
Very important.
Then it cuts to a pep talk that I feel doesn't go very well between Ruby and Oscar, or Oz. I'm trying to remember. There was I was on Ruby Co, and someone had like a really good name for Ozpin and Oscar, like
Oscar?
Or I think it's like Oscar or Oscar Pin or something like that. I forget. And so that talk happens. It then cuts back to the Fox brothers planning away evilly in the corners, pulling the strings. And they're basically, okay, Ilya, you're gonna have to kill your best friend's parents. So, yeah, there's that. And
lure Blake away while the White Fang takes care of them, or something.
or something. And then we also get a little hologram that was FedEx to them by the Remnant FedEx service of Adam going full Kylo Ren about Blake. And that's basically it. So just get a good sip from my drink. Let's start with the Oscar and RWBY pep talk. So
Robert, do you have your soapbox ready to go?
I think so. If I
yeah,
may.
I'll let Oscar go. God damn it!
You?
How rude!
How dare you?
Just go.
Here?
Just go. Fuck.
Okay, so
God damn it.
But first of all, Oscar goes and basically he drops that line we heard from the trailer. I want it to be more than a. Well, yeah, he basically says, I want it to be more than just a farm boy, but I didn't want this. And here's the thing. I think maybe Miles and Carrie think that was their way of letting us know as a motivation. But here's a little bit of Game of Thrones wisdom for you. Anything that comes before the word but is horse shit. So, they want us to believe that, that's his motivation, but it doesn't feel like his motivation if he's going to follow it up with, but I didn't want this. So, Oscar feels like he hasn't progressed, like he hasn't really grown or changed. It feels like they're still doing this whole it feels like they're still doing the whole, they're still playing with this whole reluctant hero shtick with him, because he's here, he's doing stuff, but we don't know why. And he's still whining every step of the way about having to do things he doesn't want to do. And here's the thing about and here's the problem with that, is that when you have a reluctant hero, you have the thing about reluctant heroes is what makes them compelling is, yes, that part of them that is reluctant. Aang, Shikamaru, oh man, I had another really good example of one. Aang, Shikamaru, Gohan are all kind of examples of reluctant heroes. But what makes those characters even more interesting, unless you're playing it for laughs, you're trying to get laughs out of us, like in RWBY, the Reds and Blues were reluctant heroes, is that what makes these characters more interesting is both what makes them reluctant and also what drives them to overcome that reluctance. And when we see what pushes them, so with Gohan, it's his family. With Shikamaru, it's the fact that he's watched people that he cares about nearly die. In the case of Asuma, he watched his mentor die, and that drove him to overcome his reluctance. In the case of
be the only non-main character to kill an Akatsuki.
Hey,
Yeah,
on the bright side, he did hook up with the hot fan chick from the Sand Village.
Shikamaru.
Best couple.
Yeah,
Shikamaru that is the Renora of Naruto, by the way.
It really is.
Yeah. In a lot of ways, I think Shikamaru might actually be a better secondary protagonist than Sasuke when it comes to
protagonist.
Yeah.
So far,
but
from what I've
Sasuke,
seen.
they built up that rivalry. I think they about as well as they could, given how slapped together Sasuke's entire deal.
Fair enough.
Just to appease the editors.
Fair enough. And then with Aang, it's he's driven by what he's seen what he's seen the Fire Nation what the Fire Nation has done in his absence, and the need to make it right. With Oscar, we have none of that. He's just standing around complaining about things. We don't know what got him to Mistral, and we don't even really know why he doesn't want to be there and stuff like that, other than just it just came out of nowhere. So that's my rant there.
We never, and here's to piggyback off of that rant, I never got the sense that he ever wanted to be more than a farmhand. Just his word, basically. Yeah, which happened now. When we first met him, we didn't get anything like that.
Yeah, Osmond said it, but we don't even know.
It's the be careful what you wish for. You just might get it.
Yeah, so for example,
that's what they're trying to make it, but it doesn't feel like it works.
Yeah, the parallel I have, because I don't watch Dragon Ball and I don't watch Naruto. Although I do watch Avatar, is actually at least at this point in the story is Luke from Star Wars Episode 4 / original Star Wars, is because at least from the very beginning, because Luke, they actually do a fantastic job of setting up the fact that he does want more than this, but he's not very sure. He's a bit timid. He's kind of reluctant.
Well, it was Star Wars.
That amazing scene of him looking out at
Star Wars. He
gazing
didn't
out
want
at
to
the suns
fight. He didn't
stuff
want to
like that.
fight. He wanted to just leave.
Yeah, he just wanted to leave.
He just wanted off of Tatooine. And
I wanted
stuff
off
like
this desert shithole. Get me out of here.
I wanted off of. I wanted out of Toon. That doesn't mean I want to freaking fight the Empire.
Yeah, exactly. And then And then Obi-Wan has that whole thing, and he's just like, "This is too big for me. I'm not ready for this." With Oscar, we have none of it.
Oscar, we didn't have anything like that. All we the first scene he's in is just him being a farm boy. Like that was terrible.
And he seems
Without
pretty
even
damn
dialogue.
content.
Yeah, there didn't seem anything wrong with him. He didn't seem upset at all. Like, why couldn't they have had an interaction with his aunt in the first scene he's in? Like, that scene was so bad because he didn't do anything. I remember this. I remember watching that scene and I was like, oh God, not a new character. Because there was nothing good about him at that point. It's like, fuck, this is going to be a new important character, isn't it? And I showed my brother that scene too. When my brother and I watched that season together, he said the exact same thing. He's like, God fucking damn it, not another new character.
I kind of wish that
the second and third Oscar scenes are a bit better.
They're a bit better, but the point is
They were okay,
it's not. They weren't great still, but the problem is that if he had been introduced in a more interesting way, like a lot of other characters have been, we'd be fine with them becoming new important characters. Like when Penny came around, people liked Penny, and I mean, there's other shows. For example, again, I will hammer this home until the day I die.
Avatar.
Toph from Avatar, because so one of the things that people said to kind of counter my argument that the Toph episode, The Blind Bandit, is the textbook example of how to add a character almost halfway through the end of the show, by the way, and not only make them not feel like a third or fifth wheel, make them instantly a fan favorite. Instantly. I think it's undeniable that the majority of the Avatar fan base loves Toph, and she might be one of the most loved characters in that show, period, right?
Waifu bait definitely does help.
True.
Okay,
but the point is, hold on. The point is that the people would argue and say, but Toph was a main character. Oscar isn't supposed to be a main character. Excuse me, dumbasses. Oscar is very clearly supposed to be a main character. So, so that is obviously a bullshit excuse. So he still has no skin in the game. We have no idea what his motivation is. He's like kind of still a reluctant, whiny little bitch, but we don't even really know why, and we don't know why he's reluctant exactly, because we don't have any evidence of him seeing what he's up against. So why is he that scared? And we also don't have any evidence of what convinced him to come in the first place. So we don't know what the fuck is going on in this little bitch's head other than the fact that Ozpin's there. And again, I will reiterate that Ozpin wasn't that great of a character in the first place. So Oscar just gets more hateable because they still can't fix him. He finally snapped a little bit. And he finally, got angry, I guess. But it's at this point, it's just whiny. So that's not really like a character quirk. He's just been whiny the whole time. That doesn't make him an endearing character. He still is missing everything that a character needs.
Yeah, my whole thing with that is like he didn't even seem whiny to begin. Like the entire time he was heading to Mistral, the entire really time. Like you could say like one or two like two scant things that he said that are like that could be misconstrued or just outright
barely blips on the radar.
Yeah, barely blips on the radar.
Maybe
but it's not. But there's no reason for him to just kind of like blow up at RWBY like that. There was kind of no reason for him to do that. It's like it just was out of character for him to do that. Just like, aren't you scared? It's like, calm down. We were just talking about dinner just like 5 seconds ago.
Yeah, like what motivated him to be that scared? Like all it does is make him look whiny.
Yeah, like that's your reason you're training for.
Any of the shit that Ranger has been through. What's he got to be scared of?
And he's only fought like a few punk ass Grim anyways to begin with, and
I'm surprised at that.
I have a problem that he has any combat.
Yeah, Yeah, considering the way he was fighting Ruby, like, come on now, how?
Like, okay, here's the thing though. Whenever I say like, oh, a bunch of small
like
Grim, it's kind of like whatever. It's like, oh, look, the hogs are messing up my property. Let me just grab my gun real quick. Pow. Okay, hog is dead. Problem solved. Like that to me feels like the like level of like combat is like, oh, let's just pull out the ye old family gun and shoot this damn thing.
Like, unless it's like one of these
he has
like
a shotgun that he just every once.
He's got one of those trombone shotguns.
or if he, I could understand if it was like for those of us that have actually played Grim Eclipse, I could understand if it was like one of those like little tiny like little Grim that come out of the ground like Deathstalkers or something like that.
The grunts. No, they're called like what are they called? Like the two-legged weirdo thing.
Creeps.
The creepers. Yeah, but no, like if you've played Grim Eclipse, like they're actually like you don't like the entire game. You don't see a single Deathstalker except these little tiny ones that like erupt from the ground. They're actual Deathstalkers, but like, at the end of the game, you get this giant one.
Yeah, and it feels like with that they're trying to like I don't know maybe make him seem like better than Jean or something like that because I'm guessing Jean hasn't had much. I don't know. Even though Jean. Anyway, that's a whole mess. But yeah,
John's killed like 2 Beowulfs now at least, or not Beowulfs. Sorry,
he's killed a lot. John's killed a lot.
2 Ursai.
If you count all of his assists too, he's killed quite a bit.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna try to refocus us back just a little bit.
Go ahead.
So no, it's perfectly fine. So the talk that Oscar and RWBY have together, a lot. I feel like I'm on the outside whenever I say this. A lot of people on the Discord and amongst us were making comparisons to the pep talk between John and RWBY at the end of Volume 4. I feel this talk is actually much more similar to the Destiny talk at the end of Volume 3. Because it feels like Oscar was fishing for an answer, and RWBY gave the right answer, like John did, but it wasn't the answer that Oscar was looking for.
Okay, yeah, I was about to say, I was about to blow up at you. I'm like, no, it's not the hallway scene. It's not the hallway scene. I will. Oh, okay, that makes
the hallway scene was incredible.
And
the
so
hallway scene was pretty good.
The other thing to it, I'll kind of throw this out there. We could talk about it a little bit more once we get towards the end of the Oscar segment, though. Is like dinner's about to happen, but he has his backpack there, everything, and like he's looking into his backpack, and I'm like, this kid's about to run away. Like he's literally just about to peace out, be like, bye. Which and I mentioned this to Dude in the text channel where I floated the idea that Oscar will run away, and I think, I mean, it's better that if he gets better character development, it's better late than never though. But we've waited a long time for it, so I mean, if we get it, we're gonna be like, oh cool, we got it. We should have got this at like the end of Volume 4 or like the very beginning of Volume 5.
We should have got it from the very beginning. That's my point. Is they fucked it up from the very beginning. Toph's first scene, her first line is sarcasm. Her first line gives her personality. Her first scene shows what she's like. She even has faults in the first scene she's in because she loses easily to Aang. So they already show that as powerful as she is, she's not OP. I mean, it's fucking masterclass. And I'm sorry, I hate when people say, but we can't compare RWBY to Avatar. Fuck you, we can't. It's the first American anime that's good. So I'm sorry, RWBY has to compare itself to Avatar. So no, they actually could have had Oscar have any of that from his first fucking scene. And they didn't. So it's even worse than that. And we're almost halfway through Volume 5, and this bitch has no character development and no character progression whatsoever. He's gotten worse. Yeah. He's gotten worse now.
They missed. They had set up a second chance to fix the big problem with Oscar from before.
They didn't.
Weren't gonna miss.
Here's the irony. It's the boat has left the harbor. It has then come back to the harbor, picked up some more people and like trade supplies, and then left again. That's kind of where it's at.
And here's something I think with this episode. A part of me feels like maybe with this episode they were trying to clarify on some things that, like on some of the complaints that people had with Volume 4, like with people wondering, what was driving Oscar, what was driving RWBY, I
mean, we know what's driving RWBY. The problem is...
and like whether or not... Well, the people who are able to put 2 and 2 together know. And like whether or not, Sun's actions in Volume 4 like are meant to be what's the word, I guess, laudable, whether or not, we're supposed to be okay with it, or whether or not, like, Blake's treatment of him we were supposed to think her treatment of him was okay, which, again, like, we shouldn't have needed that, but apparently a lot of people did. And, like, and so this episode was basically them saying, Ruby's out here because her friends died. Oscar is out here because he wanted more from life than being a farmhand, apparently, allegedly, still not convinced.
In quotations with an asterisk.
Yeah, because again, anything that comes before the word "but" is horseshit. And RWBY, and like, yes, what Sun did last volume was okay in Miles and Carrie's books, and now in Blake's books. But yeah, it's just weird.
This scene was kind of.
Oh yeah, I don't even want to mention all the Rose Garden shipping intensifies that was going on in this scene.
Which at this point, I mean, I'm actually like, I'm not really Lancaster. I'm definitely more sympathetic to it. Again,
I don't think OBS picked up what I said right there. Yeah, the scene was painful because Lindsay and Aaron do such a good job with it, with the acting, but they're given this awful it's like kind of the opposite of Raven from last episode. Where Raven, she was given really good dialogue, but Anne Hallam is not a voice actress. She literally just has the part because she's married to the CEO of Rooster Teeth.
Kind of, yeah. And yeah, she
nepotism at its highest.
Yeah.
Her delivery was pretty weak last episode.
But in this episode, is like one of the first lines is
"You'll be combat ready in no time."
No, even before that, Oscar's like,
that got me right in the feels.
I've never been in a fight like this. Like, you haven't been in a fight yet. Like, you don't know what it's like.
Yeah, exactly. It's all like, what fight? What? Yeah, again, what do you have to be scared of?
And RWBY says, "Man, you're getting better, aren't you?" Before she even she's even in line of sight.
Yeah, and then
all she heard was the grunt, like, yeah! Like, wait, man, he's getting better. Like, no, he just stubbed his toe.
Swung a stick.
Yeah.
Exactly, he's just practicing his
He wasn't eating enough fiber.
He was just practicing his whirlwind slashes, like practicing his link yell.
I almost feel like maybe this would have been a better scene if like Jean had talked to him and stuff like that. Like, oh yeah, been there, buddy, or something. I don't know.
If John was here, if John was the one doing the talking, I think that this scene would have been a little bit better. But then again, I'm almost allergic. I'm allergic to the Rose Garden shipping, which I look forward to all the comments blowing up. It's like, man, Rose Garden's great.
It's like I run.
At this point, now there's subjectivity in certain things, but at this point, anybody who thinks Rose Garden is good at this point is just straight up wrong, because it honestly feels forced.
Yeah, it's too soon for like
even more so than like Arcos did, which I mean, let's be honest, like
Arcos was completely one-sided also.
Yeah, exactly.
And this is coming from somebody who still believes this is. I remember, again, keep in mind, guys, I am not really a Lancaster apologist, because the first scene with RWBY and Jean felt like really, really, really forced Lancaster. Okay? That was also awful, okay? So this is just as bad, if not worse. I don't understand what it is about them. It's funny, like, the ships that they actually set sail, for the most part, seem to be fairly good. So, like, Renora is fantastic. I don't think anybody in this podcast will argue that Renora is actually one of the better written parts of the show, and not just because I'm a crazy fanboy for it. And another thing is that, and I'm not a Black Sun shipper, but even I have to admit that Black Sun as a relationship, even though Blake sucks, is actually done well by the writers. That is actually something.
I mean, she would suck because,
Yeah, true, but you get the point. They've done a good job with Black Sun as a ship. It feels right, even though I'm technically still a Bumblebee shipper, but I can't deny that they've done that ship well. But Lancaster at the very beginning was felt so forced, and that's why I hated it so much. especially that first scene. And then scenes like this just feel like really forced Rose Garden. And it honestly, the worst part about this is the fact that now since they did that with Jean, and they did some definitely Lancaster intensifies in Volume 4 in Kuroyuri, and now they're doing some really forced Rose Garden in the past couple episodes. It feels like they're doing that bullshit anime waifu baiting shit. And I really don't want them to do that, because let's be honest, that's one of the worst parts of anime in terms of writing.
Yeah.
I know it works for them in Japan, but that doesn't make it good writing. And either way, I would say that on both sides, it's terrible. It's bad either way, because it's baiting on both sides. So they're just doing waifu baiting for RWBY, which I think is just horse shit. It's making the show worse. If they're trying to do a love triangle between Jean and Oscar right now, it doesn't work. Because even if you hate Jean, he's a better developed character and he deserves a better chance, kind of. But either way, I'd prefer no romance between those two because of that. It's terrible. So yeah, I think it's just all of that's making the show worse. That's why this episode is just really horseshit. It's so bad. And I know Arnold is again at Murder Birds could be like, oh my god, stuff happened, even though nothing happened. That's why fuck reactors.
Yeah. And those combat ready and keep moving forward, those lines also felt kind of forced.
So
forced.
Well, considering it was the
it's like, here's some feels, we're gonna shove the feels down your throat.
Keep moving forward, I don't think was forced.
Okay, maybe not keep moving forward, but the combat ready line was all like,
that was being shot in the gut with a beanbag gun.
Yeah, I literally got shot.
The reason why that felt forced is because you can tell that Carrie, I believe it's Carrie who does the voice directing, you could tell that he told RWBY to say combat ready in the way Penny says it. Because Lindsay, to her credit, did too good of a job sounding like Penny in that line. And so you know that Carrie told her to do it that way. So that made it feel even more forced.
And Lindsay was all for that because Lindsay's a freaking stinking nuts and bolt shipper.
Yeah, I can't blame Lindsay because it's
don't fist robot girls.
Because
don't tell me what to do.
Yeah, it's not her fault. She did too good of a job following Carrie's shit direction. So I'm assuming it was Carrie. But either way, it's shit direction because you can tell what they were doing with that.
So
I liked it.
I want to talk about this for just a little bit, unless Sock wants to say something. So, what do you feel that? So, with what I mentioned earlier, where I think that Oscar was fishing for an answer, and you get the one that he wanted. So, what do you feel that Oscar was looking for in that conversation? And I want to do a poll too, also of what the over under is on of Oscar just peace, I'm out.
So I think he was really just picking RWBY's brain. Because she's the youngest person there other than Oscar himself, but Oscar's got Ozpin kind of pulling his strings. But RWBY's the youngest one there, and she's the most optimistic of the entire group. And so Oscar was probably just curious about those were serious questions. No, how do you do this? How can you stay so confident?
Oh, I went to school for it.
Yeah,
because I feel that what drives we don't know what drives Oscar obviously, but we know what drives RWBY, and that's really just the crux of this issue. But yes, we'll hand it over to Media.
Well, after I'll wait until after everybody says their piece about that, because it's gonna get a little off topic. From this episode, but more the series as a whole.
Yeah, I kind of feel like this was probably partly just them trying to push the ship and stuff like that, and just maybe it's I don't know. I know you've been theorizing that maybe he's gonna run, and maybe that is part of it. Is maybe who knows? Maybe this is some nice introspection. Maybe they actually do know what they're doing, and this is Oscar trying to figure out. Realizing I have no skin in the game and I need to understand what drives these other people if I'm going to be a part of this fight because it can't just be because of the voice in my head, which would be great if that was the case. But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, that's why I think when on High Powered and I talked about it, I said I actually didn't think that. I didn't expect that. The funny thing is, if he did do that, I'd be okay. I'd actually welcome that because that would actually make him finally do something.
It would also force the plot forward, which I'll
And it
bring
would
up
force the
reasons
plot
why.
forward. So I said I didn't think it was likely, but I liked
And-
High Powered's idea of that happening. Would the next scene with him we'll be able to see, because if they don't hint at it again, we'll know it's probably not going to happen. I would guess, but knowing the writers, things don't really make sense in their heads, so they could just do it eventually again, anyways. But I don't think it's going to happen. But I'd actually welcome it if it did, to be honest. As much as I would hate, as much as like you would think I would hate the idea of, oh no, the plot's focusing on Osktard, but at least it would make him do something, and it would.
It would also give us Neon Genesis Evangelion flashbacks, which is not a good thing. I mean, that's what made that was the episode that actually made me drop Neon Genesis Evangelion. Was the
My
episode where
mom's the robot.
Was the episode where he just ran
Spoiler.
away? Where he just ran away for an entire episode and nothing got accomplished.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Yep, that's an episode.
Just get in the goddamn
Sock and
rubbish.
Robert?
Nothing I can say. Nothing I can say other than I don't know. There's nothing I can say on that. There's nothing I can say on that.
So I'm gonna hand it over to media, and it looks like Robert might have DC'd, but it's okay. We'll figure it out.
Yeah, sorry, I'm going faceless.
With his LinkedIn image.
But no, I got Martin. I pulled up Martin Luther for him.
Am I frozen on your screen too, media?
Yeah,
Can you
yeah,
see me?
yeah. And I got Nora's symbol for you.
Oh man.
All right.
All right, you got the floor, media. Then once media's done, we're gonna move into Blake and Ilya's part.
Okay.
Am I back?
Yeah.
Yep, you're back.
Ye-
Okay, cool. As much as I appreciate Nora, I'd prefer to just be on like normal.
Or on Nora.
There we go.
Hey,
I haven't moved down enough layers.
I shipped one. I shipped the ship two. Happily engaged.
Well, the reason why that's your image is because when this Discord first started, that was your symbol. That was your profile image.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it was.
That's where I got the image from.
When I ship a ship, like the girl that's in the ship is not my waifu. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Yep.
I want the ship to happen. You know what I mean? That's how I am.
Okay.
Yeah, like Ruby's not my waifu.
Yeah, exactly.
Weiss's.
My
So you don't
waifu is
get
any of the
stuck
brown
on
is
the top?
any and all of the brown and or tan anime girls in this show.
So okay, so this is what I was going to say before.
Go for it.
I hate the whole cliche of like this happens a lot in war movies where these soldiers, trained soldiers, are in a fight, and then one of them opens their mouth and says, "I didn't sign up for this."
Mm.
I'm getting that vibe with Oscar.
Yeah.
You
kind
agreed
of.
to this. You went to Haven Academy.
Yeah.
They all went to Beacon. The Team Ranger went to Beacon Academy. They went to a school specifically designed to fight monsters. What were they expecting?
They fought monsters.
And I don't. They're not doing that with them, but yeah.
I mean, Ruby. Well, Team RWBY as a whole, maybe not so much Blake, but the other three members of Team RWBY kind of like realized this early on, and were like, yeah. And Ruby, like before she even freaking stepped through the doors, like that's why she got accepted. That was part of the interview. Like, yeah, I just want to help people and might as well make a career out of it.
Yeah.
But I was like, what were they expecting? They are in the most dangerous job in Remnant. This stuff with Salem should not be coming to as a surprise. The only surprise with it should be like them targeting Ruby specifically.
Yeah.
And even that, Ruby got the explanation on why she's quote unquote special at the end of Volume 3.
Yeah, and Oscar.
And
shouldn't
Oscar
be
got it
needing
as soon
this.
as Osman said, "Hello, my name is Professor Osman."
You're a silver-eyed warrior, Ruby.
Yeah, they should. Yeah, Oscar shouldn't be needing this. Yeah, shouldn't be needing like. Yeah, at this point, Oscar shouldn't be needing the whole, why are you here talk at this point. Doesn't seem like.
No, yeah, it's like they're trying to make up for it, but they're doing a really shitty job. Like they're trying to make up for the fact they didn't do it when they were supposed to, and that's awkward already. But now they're doing it here, and it doesn't make sense, and they did a very poor job of it.
It's like, Oscar, it's been 2 weeks that you've been here, and you're just now asking this question.
And again, what brought on this sudden fear of his?
That's what I'm saying. He burst out of RWBY for no apparent reason.
Anything. Like, what is Ozpin saying in his head that's freaking him out this much? And if he is doing
here's
that,
a good rule
that
of
just
thumb.
makes Ozpin even stupider than he already is.
Here's a good rule of thumb. Take all the Ranger segments from this volume and last volume. Edit them all together and see what you get. Skip all the Weiss scenes, Blake scenes, Adam scenes, villain scenes. Skip all that. Just focus on Team Ranger. Volume 4 was pretty cohesive. They come to a village, they stop there, they fight the guys. They come to a village, they see the dead huntsman and the Nuklavi footprint. They come to a village, they get some rest. They get to Oniyuri, they fight Tyrion. Crow comes in, they fight. Crow gets poisoned, they set up camp. Backstory, go to the next town, it's Kudoyuri, that's where things go down. Then they get on the ship to Mistral, stop there, Crow gets healed, and then as soon as Volume 5 starts, things start becoming more of a mess.
Extended training montage. It's not even a really...
And like you said, they're waiting for the plot to happen.
Well, no, it's, I pointed this... I think I pointed this out in one of my reviews. I think it was for, it was probably for, the Dread in the Air review. When, for the Ranger segment of that. And this was kind of pointed out to me by Fatman Falling, during his, premiere, reaction. They were already in the city and in the hospital and hotel, but then the first scene in Volume 5 is them being like, hey, we finally made it, and Crow opens up the door for them.
Yeah.
And then they go to Haven Academy.
All right, so
let's... it feels like what, like Volume 4 didn't happen, is what you're saying? Or like... Or... I don't know. But yeah,
don't take all my Reese's Pieces.
All right, so let's move on to
He's
the
being bamboozled by...
Sorry, someone is straight stealing my candy.
That's the quote on this pod. That's the quote of the podcast.
Hey, be like...
Hey, Lego Maego.
Don't take my Reese's Pieces.
I will
Lego
shoot
Maego.
you.
Oh, wait, probably get your content ID strike. Then you move that out of the screen.
If he was gonna get content ID struck, it would have been when he was grabbing his pole earlier.
Ah, yeah.
Oh no! Grabbing his pole. Okay, so let's move on to the Blake and Ilya segment. Okay, so before we really rip and tear into this part, because I know a few of y'all are gonna want to.
I didn't finish making my point before they started stealing my candy.
I was wondering about that. I was like, wait a minute, did you
the
make
candy part?
Sorry.
But yeah, so the last time we saw Oscar before this episode, he was training RWBY and getting a pep talk there. It was like, yeah, I'm kind of getting the hang of this. This is kind of cool. And then all of a sudden, he's having an existential crisis.
Gotcha, yeah.
Out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Yeah. And also, just going to say this, we talked about this a little while ago, but with the whole waiting for the plot to happen thing is that I wouldn't mind, like, to be fair, that's kind of what a training montage is, but here's the thing, is that a training montage is an opportunity for, like, world building, it's an opportunity for character moments, and we're not getting that with this. Particularly not with this episode, so, yeah.
I feel that we would have been more forgiving on this exchange if it was John talking to...
Yeah, if they were airing their grievances instead of cramming Rose Garden down our throats. Yeah.
No, you want to know what this is like? I'm trying to think of a specific video game example. But there's a couple video games. I think some of the Assassin's Creeds do this. Where they, like, hold the main mission and, like, lock it up until you like complete a quota.
You gotta
of
climb a bunch of towers and shit.
Oh,
you gotta fulfill a certain quota of side missions before you unlock the next story mission. I think GTA 4 did that. I want to say there's some other ones. I want to say Assassin's Creed is the big one that does that, but I feel like there's one that did it even worse. MMOs do that all the time.
Yeah.
Like you have to grind on the side missions and stuff in order to upgrade all your stuff, and then you have to have all your stats up to a certain point before it even lets you play the next story-based mission.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with that, yeah.
That's what this is like. It's like Blake and Son have a side mission called Collect 10 Signatures, and they have to collect 10 signatures before they can move on to the next story mission.
Yeah.
I'm trying to start this new guild. I'll pay you a gold if you just sign the charter. You can leave as soon as we get in. As soon as it goes. All right, so let's get on to the Blake part. Okay, so before we really like go into this episode, so I will say this: whenever it came to like the mechanical aspects of this part of the episode, were very good. So like a few things I liked were like, Son's doing Son's trying to recruit people, and then Ram guy's like bit meme. And then just the interaction between the two, like just the two of them talking, like even though they're talking about basically nothing, like Son's character is very emotive. Blake's also very emotive too. Also, all the movements good. Like the cat ears help convey her emotions. Like on that side of it, like it's good. So like there's plenty of reasons to like really tear into this because a whole lot of nothing happened, or the way that Blake describes Adam should have been portrayed like whatever he showed up and killed Sienna Khan a bit more. But
mechanically it was nice, yeah.
Yes, if there's one thing I will say about this episode, like mechanically, whenever it comes to like the characters talking and like how they look, like facial animation rigged wise, it looks good, and like I'm glad they switched over to Maya because God forbid they try to do this sort of stuff in Poser.
Mm-hmm.
They're getting their money's worth from Maya, but even with the like level of detail being fine, on a conceptual level, so many of these scenes are boring. We have basically the equivalent of 2 coffee house scenes.
Pretty much.
Yeah, pretty much at this point.
Which one is bad enough?
Yeah.
And so just to put this into perspective, I am for those of you listening, I am currently rewatching the Boo Saga, and I'm watching the Kai version. That way I only have to watch like 60 episodes instead of 120. And Dragon Ball Z especially, but to a lesser extent Dragon Ball, kind of invented a bunch of like animation shorthands that have been used in almost every single anime ever since. Mm-hmm. This, and I mentioned this in a previous episode review, this is using a lot of the same shorthand corner cutting stuff, a lot of wide shots. There's a lot of scenes I noticed in this episode in particular that are wide shots where the characters are kind of like in the distance and they don't even bother like animating their faces.
Yeah.
Like, at least this isn't bad in Evangelion whenever like a character's talking but they're holding a book in front of their face so you don't have to animate the mouth.
Well, Dragon Ball beat them too. That was something that Dragon Ball did a lot of.
Gotcha.
Beat them to it.
Yeah. And so,
I mean, but there's much worse things to talk about than that. There's much bigger things to complain about.
Yeah, like the fact that nothing happened.
Yeah. And here's the...
Well, I didn't say nothing happened. It's just...
Well, I did.
Oh, no. Nothing did happen. The only thing that we got out of this episode is that basically, like, we've theorized what Blake's story arc's going to be. It's now pretty much confirmed what her story arc's going to be for the rest of the volume.
Well, we kind of already knew that from this point, last volume 4, episode 5.
Yeah.
We got all the like descriptions that like Adam was rising in the White Fang, and there was a power struggle between him and Sienna Khan, and the Albanes were like appealing to Gira to like on behalf of Sienna Khan, but they were actually like planning on backstabbing Sienna Khan by working with Adam and helping him out by telling Ilya that Blake's back. Like we got all that last volume at this exact point last volume.
I think,
And that
I
was
think,
like the first or second worst episode of that volume. It was dumb then too.
yeah, I think the problem is that basically what we found out in this episode is further confirmation that Blake isn't rushing to Mistral. And that's bad because the funny thing is we should have known. I think we kind of all
We were being overly optimistic.
We were being overly optimistic because we know, and I'm not saying like to some people we're gonna sound like overconfident and like we could do the show better, but I mean in some ways we could, to be honest. Like we know
Some people have said that I already did.
and I would agree with that too. The thing is, anybody with half a brain should know that Blake should and the Belladonna clan should have already gone over to Mistral. They should have been there a long time ago. They should have been there in Volume 4. Yeah. Again, why were they shown what looked like on a boat in the intro of Volume 4? And yet they never got on a boat. What was the point of that? Yeah. And so we're seeing that now. So we know that they should have gone there a season ago, basically. And yet we're not
I mean, didn't
that.
I already sum up, like, again, like, the fact that I did this better already, and people have already said that, I did all this in one chapter. Blake's entire story arc for the last volume and a half, I summarized in one really short chapter. Like, not even a Ruby on Home chapter. We're talking, like, early Ruby on Home chapter.
And I read that chapter, and funnily enough, so I also had a fan fiction. It's still there. I never finished it, but I think for me, it took only like 2 or 3. Like Blake moped for like one chapter, and then she was still kind of moping after that. But she started doing things after 2 or 3 chapters.
Yeah. And here's the thing: so it seems pretty it seems pretty clear that Ilya's gonna show up. She's gonna either capture Blake or she's going to lure her away from her home, and then it's going to be attacked. They probably could have done this like all the way back in Volume 4. Yeah, they could have done that in Volume 4. They could have done that instead of that weird chase scene that they had. They could have had Ilya show up to capture Blake, and it would have probably made a lot more sense because apparently they're not.
Would have made more sense of how she got her, how Blake got her Ilya's scroll.
Yeah,
that's never going to make sense.
Yeah, and apparently they're not apparently they are not getting an army. And so just kind of backtracking here.
I mean, and the other thing is, what made them even think that in the first place? Like, who in the audience ever thought they had a chance? And if so, so the only reason you do something where even the audience knows that the characters have no chance of accomplishing the goal would be there's something that the audience didn't know that comes out of that, right?
Yeah.
But we're not getting that.
Like, we could have seen a shot of, like, some White Fang guys, like, going around, like, bullying people, like, hey, whatever you do, don't sign up for this, or it'll be bad for business.
Yeah. And also the whole thing with them, like, going around gathering signatures kind of raises a question with me of, like, what exactly is the infrastructure for Menagerie? Because we know that they have like a military or a law enforcement or something like that full of brown anime waifus and stuff like that. We saw it in the first episode this volume. So can Gira not just pull rank and say, I'm taking a platoon of our law enforcement to Mistral or something like that?
Well, I don't think sorry.
Do they have a council? It just raises a lot of questions. Like, why do they need to be gathering these people and stuff like that?
Well, it's because they're not soldiers. They're normal Joes They're like fishermen and carpenters.
Well, I get that,
And
but like,
cooks.
why
So that a
can't
few
he
of them
say-
have been given a badge to be like,
And
like
why-
But they have
Town's
law
Watch.
enforcement. Why can't he pull from a few of those people to help out or whatever?
I mean, he
It's
probably
weird.
is going to anyway. He's just looking for volunteers
I
from
mean, why
from
would
the
they-
from the actual citizens.
But why would they even bother doing that? That's the other thing. What-
That's
like,
my issue because Blake
that's
straight
the-
up says that, like, oh yeah, I mean, these people, most of them came here to avoid fighting. Like, then
Then why do you expect them to fight? Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's
borrow some money and hire some goddamn mercenary.
That's what you're gonna have to do. I mean, because it's like I don't
well, why
I don't
didn't
blame the people. I don't blame the people of Menagerie. They're just and
Yeah,
and
I
any
don't
that
either.
and any
Yeah, no,
fighters
no,
that they have,
definitely
they
not,
can't
no.
spare because from what we know from Volume 4 is Menagerie's like the Grim and Menagerie or stuff like that are highly dangerous. They need whatever fighters they have to be there to safeguard the village. They can't
Well, like-
spare any.
Yeah, sort of as like what High Powered said. Like, why wouldn't they just go to the Unit would have been better? All right, we need people to fight. Let's go find a bandit clan. Oh, look, they ran into Raven. So much better. Like that is
Yeah, exactly.
That feeling they
You
hire
were practically
outlaws to help them.
feeding these guys a reason for them to go to Mistral.
Here's
Yeah.
food and money. Here
And
you
it's
go.
like-
What else do you want from me?
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's also one of the and it's like and it's also that question of so they go to or sorry, I think I kind of lost my train of thought there.
No, you're fine.
But yeah, it's just it doesn't make sense for or if they were going to like get volunteers, why weren't they doing it while Giro during the time while Giro was giving his speech? That would have seemed like the time to do it when they're like hyping people up.
I mean, that was the announcement of what they were doing, and then like maybe like have a booth set up for right
Maybe,
after the
yeah.
speech.
but it's
Giving away
like-
a bunch of free T-shirts.
Yeah, and apparently we're and I don't know, maybe we're supposed to assume that like Ilya's rant succeeded even though they call it a failure later on in this episode. So yeah, that whole thing is just obnoxious and it doesn't work. So it makes no
Although
sense.
Well-
I have one random positive thing to say about this:
Go for it.
the freaking kiosks that are in the water.
Yeah, very nice.
That's
They have to be
interesting,
they
yeah.
have to be versatile for any and all faunus types.
That
Especially,
feel and
yeah,
no,
For
that
the
feel and no
for the
swim
mermaid
up.
faunus, yeah.
Yeah, that feel and no swim up bar. Fucking alcoholic speaking here.
Have any
Jesus
of you guys
Christ.
seen My Gym Partner's a Monkey? Did any of you guys watch that
part of
show?
it a little bit.
I don't watch TV, but I think I've seen one episode.
It was
I
on
saw
a
it,
long
and I
time.
thought
It's an
it was,
older
one or
show.
two
It's
episodes.
old. Yeah, it's pretty
Yeah,
old.
I think I'm pretty sure it started like 2007, right as Cartoon Network was starting to go downhill, and My Gym Partner's a Monkey was supposed to be like that, and Camp Lazlo were supposed to be the like two shows that were gonna keep Cartoon Network on its golden age, and then they both had like solid first seasons, and then just a bunch of that was like when Cartoon Network officially started going bad for a while. And I think they're still bad. I mean, just look at how much they tried shoving Teen Titans Go down your throat. No amount of Steven Universes or Adventure Times is gonna make up for that.
I like Steven Universe.
Yeah,
I like
but
Steven Universe.
no amount of
I
Steven
really
Universe
like
is gonna
Steven
make
Universe.
up for the amount of Teen Titans Go that Cartoon Network plays nonstop.
That
Nah.
nobody
But,
wanted.
So My Partner's a Monkey is about it's in this world where animals are just intelligent, just randomly, just that's just the world they live in. But
Because
they go
reasons.
they go to their own like segregated school.
Oh, I remember this show now, and it's the one
and the main
random
character,
kid.
his name is Adam Lyon, but he's a human. But because of a misspell, when he was registering for class, he gets thrown into the animal school, and his gym partner is a monkey named Jake, and they go through like random middle school
Hijinks.
hijinks. Well, part of the school is like completely flooded for the underwater creatures. Including one, I'm pretty sure one of their names is Davy Jones, and they constantly make Davy Jones locker jokes. But
Which I
the
can't
way
blame
the
them
school,
for.
though, I really liked the school in that because it was obviously a middle school, like it looked like a middle school, but there's like these little details like that just made it feel like animals with human intelligence would go here. and be able to like actually do regular middle school stuff.
Nice.
And that's the feeling I kind of get with all the kiosks and stuff and Menagerie in this episode.
All right, so let's talk about Ilya's a little bit, and then we'll get on to Robert, you go, and then once you're done, we'll talk about Ilya's part, and then we'll get on to Theory Town.
Well, there's also just that whole conversation that Blake has with Sun, which one good thing that I liked about this is that they do kind of, it's dumb that they had to do this, but it's nice that they do it, is that they kind of let us know that Miles and Carrie were trying to be funny with like Sun's actions and that we are supposed to be okay with what he did and stuff.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's the one good thing.
They're giving Sun credit where it's due. And again, it's dumb that they have to do this, but yeah, that they basically say.
I mean, look at RWBY Republic.
Well, no. What's actually more important is the fact that Blake is specifically still. Yeah, Blake is continuing to like. I don't know if you necessarily apologize, but she's admitting that Sun was right the entire time.
Yeah, she's acknowledging that he did nothing.
Thank you, writers, for doing that, because fuck all of you idiots that were defending Blake and saying that that Sun was wrong. Because Blake just admitted that Sun was right.
That's what a good
you
couple
all
does.
Are dipshits.
And Blake is being a good girlfriend for once this episode.
She is.
Yeah.
And even though nothing's happening, I don't hate Blake more specifically. I slightly like Blake more because she admitted that, so that's good. Blake's
nice.
Now Oscar is clearly my least favorite character in the show, and Blake's only the second least favorite character in the show, so that's much better. Good job, Blake. But her story arc is still crap. It's still utter crap.
Yeah, but so
I have hopes and dreams.
But so Sun asks Blake about Adam, and not gonna lie, I got excited. I was like, "Oh, are they going to fix Adam here? Are we going to get like a real understanding of Adam now? Are we finally going to get his?" Are we going to get his backstory that we should have gotten a long time ago? And Blake slaps a one-word, she slaps a one-word label on him that is basically synonymous with asshole, and then steals the conversation to Ilya.
Literally just takes the "hello, my name is," and then just with a big permanent marker writes "spiteful" and just slaps it on his chest. Merry Christmas, motherfucker.
And then turns.
I love how Sun sets
given up on him now. So yeah.
Yeah, I love how Sun sets that up. Like, so Adam, he's the one you
Yeah, he was like kind of inferring like, were you in a relation? Like you were in a relationship with this guy, right?
Yeah, it's like
I'm better than him, right?
I'm better than him, right?
You just started talking about Ilya. What the hell?
I just wanted Blake to be like.
Which, by the way, Michael Jones does deliver that line very well. Gotta give again credits to
Michael
Jones.
I just wanted Blake to respond like, "Yes, we dated. Now shut up."
Yeah,
like, I know Adam is a bullfrog, but we need to steer this conversation somewhere else.
That honestly would have given us more about Adam than what we got.
That would have been better if she would have been like, "Yes, we were a couple."
I can't wait to talk about Adam.
Spiteful. It's all like, you dated him. He must have been something more before that, right?
Well, I mean, she said like first he was like justice and then passion.
I fell in love with his big hard justice.
Well, no, because what she says is, "I thought he was justice."
That's how she saw him, though.
I guess so, but I don't know. It just feels like.
I mean, yeah, the fact that
feels like all of his character development just went out the window.
It's been out the window. They've had multiple opportunities to show Adam in a sympathetic light, or
it makes me think that Adam was never supposed to be a good guy, which kind of runs completely counterintuitive to what we see in Volume 3, and also the Black trailer, and also what Blake says about him in Volume 1.
Because he was very protective.
Or says about the White Fang in general in Volume 1.
Yeah, I mean.
And Blake's entire story arc in Volume 2, where she like blames Torchwick for the current state of the White Fang for some reason.
Yeah, it's all just a huge mess. Yeah, what has happened to Adam is just a huge mess. We have no idea like how much of this has been intended from day one, or how much of it has just been retconned in. Yeah, it's just a mess.
I mean, the fact that Blake admits that Sun was right, redeems her in some ways, but the fact that she's still just labeling people as one word is like, Jesus Christ.
Isn't that something against her character from the outset being labeled?
You retarded ass writers.
Actually, I think they were pretty accurate to how people like Blake actually act.
Yes, I agree.
Maybe,
but the problem is that that's not what the writers are trying to go for, because based on all the interviews you've seen with them, they think Blake is likable.
Yeah, it's definitely that irony of like a minority slapping leg.
I mean,
it kind of does make sense. Look at Aaron's ex Twitter, and he is one of those people too.
Yeah, but I mean, okay, pretty much most artists are, most actors are. That's fine. Yeah. Conservatives will still watch it anyways.
Yeah.
But the thing is, not only do
that feeling right-leaning libertarian here.
The thing is that not only are most conservatives pretty much all conservatives going to hate Blake now, because I mean, why wouldn't they? But even people that are in the middle, like myself, who have voted for liberals in the past and still I'm open to doing things like that, and I vote for liberal policies as well as conservative policies. I mean, and I just have a brain, and I'm like, Blake, you're a bitch. Like, you suck. Like, you put classifying people in one word. Like,
I can't wait.
You are
to get
horrible person.
I can't wait.
I'm still gonna forgive you slightly because I'm still gonna forgive you slightly because you admitted Sun was right, so that kind of cancels this out. But Jesus Christ, you suck.
That's still a terrible
and Miles
thing.
And Carrie, what makes you think that that's okay? Like, that's exactly what ultra conservatives do, and it's exactly what ultra liberals do. Like, anybody that
it's the horseshoe theory.
yeah. Like, what in your right fucking mind makes you think that that's the right thing to do?
Yeah, the slapping one word labels on people is okay. It's not.
Yeah, why do you think our country is in such a shitty state right now? It's because there's sides. And she's doing the thing where she is a
polarization and stuff. Yeah.
One of my sayings that I live by, and this is going to sound really shitty, but it's profits before ideology.
Yeah.
And also, never pass up a free meal whenever one's offered.
But yeah, right. So
I'll let you finish, Robert. Yeah.
Sorry. But no, I'm pretty much done. Yeah, that was just a terrible thing that they've done to Adam here. So yeah.
Yeah, Adam's. I feel that Adam will be redeemed in the writer's mind whenever he I'll hold off the grim that Salem has sent at us.
Yeah, they'll throw in
and then proceeds to die off screen.
Yeah, they'll just throw in a last-minute bullshit redemption arc or something, maybe. Yeah.
Not even redemption, it's probably just be like a throwaway. But so let's get into the little Ilya bit here. So
yeah, okay.
So Ilya obviously knew that Adam killed Yenna Khan.
Yeah, they've let us know.
Rip attractive brown anime waifu.
Yep.
So basically, I'll say this about Finnick and Corsac. So Finnick and Corsac seem to be like the members of the White Fang that have been there for like a very, very long time, and they actually in the grand scheme of things, they actually probably have a lot of power. They probably have as much power as like whoever the leader of the White Fang is at the time.
They're basically the shadow rulers.
Yeah, well, if you watch Game of Thrones, Finnick and Corsac are just off-brand Varys, and they're.
I like that comparison.
And so, from that conversation, like you could tell that they're already like preparing themselves to deal with the Adam problem whenever someone else better comes along. We mainly learn now we actually know like what's going to happen in Blake's arc. Ilya doesn't like the fact that Sienna Khan was murdered in the way that her character.
I don't think she cares. The only sign that she even regrets it is that her hand twitches. Like a bunch of people were saying, like, "Ooh, she clenched her fist." I went back and watched it. Her fist does not clench at all in that scene.
Yeah, so
it just flinches.
There's a person on the Discord, OC Maniac, who he's of the mindset that I agree with him too. Also, he's a good guy. He's a great addition to the Discord. We need more people like him on the Discord. So basically, the way to put it is so Ilya has one of two choices right now that she has to make. Does she either save Blake and her family, or B, carry on with the fabulous Fox brothers' wishes and assassinate the Belladonna family, and then capture Blake? So that's basically that's the hard choice that she's got to make. This is whenever you're playing your RPG game, and it's like, do you choose path A or do you choose path B? She's at that crossroads in her life right now. And you can tell that like that sort of decision is weighing heavily on her, because they were good friends at a period of time, and that probably still holds water with her right now. Especially like, considering how the two characters interacted, like both in Volume 4, Volume 5, and in the character short and in the previews for Volume 5. So I'll say this for the theory stuff though, but I'll spill my beans on what I feel like Blake's character arc is going to be for the rest of the volume. But I mean, other than that, like we see, Adam go full Kylo Ren, and then also off-brand Vegeta shows up with his wings, which now we'll have Angel Faunus and all sorts of other different types of Faunus now too. Also, so all the OC makers are just gonna go ham now.
Well, I mean, he's a bat, but I guess it'd be like vampire OCs, yada yada. But there's nothing we can do about that, honestly.
Yeah.
So it makes Ilya seem petty. Like she's fine with Sienna Khan's death, but she doesn't want the Belladonnas to die, even though it's the Belladonnas, not Sienna Khan, who are trying to actively dismantle the White Fang as it is and prevent Ilya from having what I guess she perceives as vengeance on the humans.
Well, I mean, she had her, like, the whole reason
like,
she's,
does Ilya not
fighting...
realize that the Huntsmen exist mostly to fight Grimm? The Grimm, by the way, do not care if you're a human or faunus. This is the thing that really doesn't make sense about the whole, like, human-faunus relationships, is that it's the biggest piece of evidence that the Grimm have not had an actual impact on Remnant's culture. Because
it has been the humans versus each other.
If it did, there would be no discrimination.
Yeah, if they were really that much of a threat, yeah.
Or at least it'd be a shitload less.
Yeah.
For example.
Yeah, like let's say that, like,
it would
for
be
example,
more discrimination against like personality traits, or
we could just let's say for
like
example,
Red versus Blue does.
Yeah, like for example, let's just say like, oh, like there were other big cities, but they were like destroyed in Grimm attacks too, also like early on. But now, like with what lore that we have, it's like it's the 4 like main towns and cities, and they basically be pretty much fine for the most part. Since those towns have been established, since those like major cities have been established, like they could, like we basically have no, like, there's nothing for us to be able to tell that like a major city has been like completely destroyed. Well, minus Mountain Glen, that would be considered one. That would just be like an outpost that like was slowly growing to be something as big as what Vale was.
It was almost there.
Oniyuri was set up like that, but it never got completed. It never actually had people move in time.
Yeah, it's one of those things where you get the feeling that like Miles and Carrie probably think that the Grimm are like their equivalent of the Titans, but they're really not.
Oh no, Titan Grimm.
Yeah.
No, they're not. I mean, I'll actually argue that the show is better than that show, but the Grimm are definitely not Titan level. That's for sure.
They're not as threatening as they should be.
And really, they should feel more like that. To be in fairness, yeah,
and they should feel
true that.
Yeah,
they should feel even more ever present, because in Attack on Titan, the Titans have only been around for like what 100 years.
A long time.
So the humans are still like in that scrambling. We still have no idea how to even have a culture with these Titans knocking on our door.
Yeah.
I do think
whereas the Grimm predate the humans, and so there's no reason why. I mean, unless the discovery that the Grimms feed off of negative emotions is a really, really recent one.
if even if it's recent discovery, it still should be like, hey, probably not.
Yeah.
I don't.
And so this is another little issue that I'm having with this segment and everything that's going on with Ilya right now is, so after this most recent Black trailer, people kind of had that complaint of this felt more like it was about Ilya than Blake. Right now, this like whole arc kind of feels like it's because, like we said, Blake is just sitting around waiting for the plot to happen. So in a way, this entire arc kind of feels like it's more about Ilya than it's about Blake in a way.
Well,
to me it feels like it's more about the Fox brothers, because the Fox brothers are the ones actually doing something.
I know. I saw it. In fairness, I got to give the fabulous Fox brothers credit. Like, they've been pretty good in all their scenes, to be honest. I
gotta admit, Corsac has a sexy voice. I gotta say, I want that voice.
Really, honestly, does.
Just like,
I know both of them have been in other things. Like, I know one of them was Jason Voorhees in the most recent Friday the 13th.
Yeah.
And I don't remember what the other one was in.
His voice is almost as sexy as that one guy's hair from Stranger Things.
I don't. All these TV things are just going right over my head. Game of Thrones, Stranger Things.
Okay, first of all, Stranger Things is only on Netflix, so it's not TV technically.
Well,
sorry to be that anal douchebag, but
it's fine. I understand.
But yeah, that is true. It's like Fennec and Corsac seem more in control of this situation than Blake. And also, again, just to reiterate what I said before, is that the White Fang's gonna come after Blake and her family. Ilya's either gonna capture her. Why are we like? Why did they feel the need to tell us about this when they could have just
let it
happen? Yeah. Why do we need like? This is basically spoilers for the next episode, basically.
This is spoilers for the rest of Blake's volume.
Or something like that.
It was something we kind of already knew was going to happen.
Well,
exactly.
they're basically stating for people who didn't pick up on it. They're
fully
stating
confirming that they're not doing what they should be doing, that we all know they should have been doing, that we've been saying.
You mean leaving?
Why couldn't they have just done this attack last volume? Yeah, it's ridiculous. Yeah. So, yeah.
This is maybe they needed worse and worse, and the only good thing to ever have come out of this entire Blake arc is just Callie Milfadonna, and otherwise it's been shit.
And now they're threatening to kill her. They're threatening to kill Milfadonna.
And I'm sorry,
keep writing.
As precious as Callie is, she's not worth it. She's not worth all this crap that we've gotten.
You take that back right now. You take that back right now.
As soon as I saw the trailer, and I'm like, why is Blake going to see her parents? The storyline's gonna suck. I was right. I've been continued to have been right the entire time.
I still have high hopes for this. I still have high hopes. I still have.
I'm just reserved. Like, maybe Blake's next story arc will be better.
Just the whole thing about like I didn't want to be right, but I said Oscar's not going to get better, and I was right. And Blake's storyline's not going to get better. I've been right. Like,
at this point, it's beyond salvation.
They're both beyond salvation.
I want to say something positive. I want to talk about the Fox brothers a little bit, and then I also want to talk about Adam because, oh my god. So first, the Fox brothers, they feel like Zetsu from Naruto, in that they're like pulling the strings. They have a cause, they have a goal, and that goal is bigger than any single person. Sienna Khan doesn't matter. Adam Taurus doesn't matter. Gira doesn't matter. What matters is the mission. Like Salem, none of that matters. What matters is their ultimate goal, and they're doing everything within their ability to pull the strings and make sure that that goal is eventually achieved. Like, they just don't care. They don't care about Adam. Like, they make it clear when they're like, yeah, he's under a lot of stress, but...
he seems unwell.
Yeah. But
It's G. You
yeah,
think?
Finnick, I believe, is like, are we sure that this is the one that should lead us? And Corsair's like,
Nah.
for now.
For now.
For now.
It's like Adam's just like.
As he goes down the
I really like that.
going
I
down
really
the
like
list,
that
it's
portrayal.
Like, there we go. Do you want to let's get into predictions?
No, I also want to talk about Adam.
Okay, my bad.
He doesn't sound like Kylo Ren. He doesn't sound like Anakin Skywalker. He sounds like the How It Should Have Ended version of Kylo Ren and Anakin Skywalker.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing here's another thing that's
Kira,
making
the Belladonna name has caused me nothing but pain.
Pulls the Gladian pose, just like,
here's the thing. Here's the thing.
Ugh.
Adam's getting more insufferable a little bit. I don't mind Adam. Like, I actually
It's the voice actor. The voice actor's awful.
I was gonna say, I actually don't have that much of a problem with the fact that Adam is just supposed to be a bad guy and he's not supposed to have a redemption arc. Because I kind of always hated him, so I don't mind that. As much as I understand that, like, it is kind of in some ways bad writing and it should have been done differently, but I don't really have a problem with that specifically.
So basically, it's like a Whitley. It's like a Whitley thing with you. You're just like, okay, I hate him, but at the same time, that's the point of his character.
Yeah, I think I hate him, and that's what he's supposed to be. Although I think that Whitley's better than Adam at this point because
I'm kind of surprised we haven't seen hide nor tail of Whitley or Jock's entire volume.
But the thing is, Adam's shit voice actor is getting so much more glaringly terrible, considering how much better some of the also mediocre voice actors have gotten, and the fact that they keep adding amazing voice actors. So yeah, Adam's voice actor is garbage.
Like they added Lanny Pator this episode.
Yeah, they did actually.
Lanny Pator is just an amazing voice actor.
He is actually a very good voice actor.
He's so good. He started off doing a Bridge series, and he's actually getting like legit anime work. I'm not talking about RWBY. I mean, I'm talking about like Team 4-Star doing the official dub of an anime movie.
Yeah.
Using Lanny Pator, yeah, I know. Which is funny because the original joke of the guy who got all the voice acting jobs was Takahata 101. But the one who's actually good is
Well,
Lanny
Taka's
Pator.
good too.
Yeah.
Taka gets a lot of video game work.
He does get a lot of video work, but it's just really
when you create a video series as a joke and it actually gets you real money later on in life.
Yeah,
living a goddamn dream.
The thing is with Team 4-Star, and I don't want to sound like I'm talking shit. I was always a guy who preferred Little Karibo, and I never thought that they were super super hilarious. I've tried to watch all of their series, and I never thought they were that funny. But the thing I'll give them credit for is they are fantastic voice actors, and their production was actually really good. They were better editors than Little Karibo.
Yeah.
Oh god, Little Karibo is like Yu-Gi-Oh!
Little Karibo's a great voice actor too. Like he's got some range.
He's a fantastic voice actor. But I'm just saying, like they had better production. I mean, in fairness to Little Karibo, he was the original abridger. He created what an abridged series is. So. But I mean,
I think Little Karibo's the only one. I think Little Karibo's the only one out of that entire group that can actually do a decent abridged series by himself.
Well, he kind of did most of the voices by himself.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He does all the writing, most of the voice acting, and all the editing for Yu-Gi-Oh! Abridged. And he also does a lot of stuff for DBZ Abridged. He plays the narrator, and he also plays Frieza.
He was Frieza.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my god, this Frieza's so good. In his narrator, really, he just does Yugi. Yugi is the narrator of DBZ.
The most impressive thing about him is if you watch the cons he used to go to, where he would recite entire episodes and would switch the voices on the fly, and would do an amazing job of it. That's like, how the fuck?
I was like, that was like the Yugi versus Jade rap battle he did at a con that I saw a video of.
Yeah, I mean he'll do like the vagina monologues, or he did the Yu-Gi-Oh! The Ebonics series, like stuff like that, and
oh god, that was hilarious.
I
also love when the Team 4-Star guys did read 50 Shades of Grey as various characters, like not just their abridged characters, but like one of them read part of it as Nicolas Cage.
Oh no.
I will always love.
Well, one of them was Mickey Mouse.
I
He
will
needs
always
to make a
love-
joke where it's like I have to read this so I can afford the interest payments on one of the few castles that I bought.
I will always love
My
Blue,
favorite
Blue Peeps Whitey Dragon.
My favorite thing from any of the cons that they've done is when Takahata 101 showed up when Chris Sabat first announced the making of DBZ Kai, and he was all like, "So this is going to be re-edited? Yes. It's going to be shorter? Yes. It's going to follow the manga a little bit." He's like, "Yes." Wait a minute. And then he says in Nappa's voice, "Way to be 4 years late to that party." So just making fun of that.
God
Which is
damn it,
just really
Nappa!
funny.
All right, so
Yeah,
let's.
they did a little line thing together.
So is everyone good? Because I feel we can go to theories and predictions time.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm ready.
You know
Yeah.
it's bad when we're just talking about a bridge series now.
All right, so
You
So
know
I'm gonna-
we're just so
Well,
done with this
and
episode.
I've got Dragon Ball on the mind. I've had Dragon Ball on the mind since I started watching Super again.
It's just like RWBY abridged. Oh wait, then I just remember it's like, oh yeah, dude's doing it. Oh wait, no, dude canceled that plan.
I can't voice act. So. Also, you can't really do a good abridged series of RWBY because of the way it's
Animated.
the way it's animated.
You can't do
Like,
the lip.
No offense to anybody who does the RWBY abridged series, but none
It's
of them
always
are,
gonna
first
look
of all,
awkward.
First of all, none of them are very funny. I'm not gonna lie, none of them are funny.
Oh, well,
And
Fat Man
second of
has
all-
got some good moments. Fat Man has
Yeah,
some. Good
Batman, but it's not his. Is
But
sort
his
of.
are more like skits that he would otherwise do
Yeah,
in his
his
reviews.
Exactly. His isn't really an abridged series. And the other thing is,
It's
none
sort
of them look right. And that's not. And that, in fairness, none of the guys can
That
do
is
anything
nobody's
about
fault.
that. That's nobody's fault. So that's why I just gave up on a RWBY abridged series and I just started writing my book instead, which is probably better. But
Yeah,
the thing is, I you can't make a RWBY abridged series look right, so I just wasn't gonna bother. You can't make it look good.
all right, so I'm gonna just throw out my predictions for the rest of this volume. So
Okay.
let's start with Team Ranger and Oscar. So Oscar's going to run. Whenever Oscar runs, Team Ranger then goes after him with or without Crow. Whenever Oscar runs, and Lionheart sees Team Ranger like running around trying to find someone, Lionheart then alerts Salem. This then, in turn, will give us, for example, Salem is like, okay, now we have an idea of like who Ozpin reincarnated in, which is no reason Salem wouldn't know this. That's it there. That's going to be Ranger's plot for, I feel, for the rest of the volume. Assuming if Oscar runs, and then potentially running into the Bandit Clan, which even then at this point, like I don't even think the like Team Ranger running into the Bandit Clan is even going to happen this volume. Well, who knows? But
This episode was so bad it just threw off all of your predictions for the volume from last time. High powered.
pretty much. So, whenever it comes to Weiss and Yang, they have their conversation, which hopefully we'll get next week, and that'll hopefully be a superb episode to make up for these two episodes, the last two episodes.
Well,
no,
no, last episode
No,
was
last
the
episode-
best.
Yeah, last
episode
episode
of
was
the
good.
volume
Last
so
was
far.
good. Yeah, to make up for this episode. So
This episode was so bad that High Powered actually thought that the last episode was bad
that's how
in
bad this
retrospect.
episode was.
It's
That's
like the
how
opposite of
bad
Winter
episode.
Soldier.
That's how
Yeah,
bad
no.
this episode was, because last episode was really good. I don't even
So-
blame you, High Powered. It's this episode fault.
Yeah, it's
So-
the opposite of Winter Soldier, where Winter Soldier made you believe that Iron Man 2 was actually a good movie. By virtue of it being of Winter Soldier just being like so good that every other Marvel movie became good by
Hey,
association,
The Guardians of the Galaxy movies,
which came
fucking
out after
awesome.
which both of them came out after Winter Soldier.
Okay, that's true, but
So whenever it comes to Weiss and Yang, basically they're gonna have their talk. They're gonna be like, okay, we'll go tomorrow morning. Get your rest, have a good meal. Tomorrow morning happens, and then as they're about to like teleport out of there, they're like, oh look, Cinder and company just showed up, and that's gonna waylay them from teleporting back to RWBY. So that's my prediction for there. So we're gonna have Bandit Clan shenanigans along with Cinder and Company shenanigans. Now, this is gonna be feels like stating the obvious. So for Blake, Blake's story arc is gonna happen like this. So Ilya's gonna have to decide on what she's gonna do. Like, is she actually going to like kill her friend? Which I in my mind they're still friends, even though they're on.
Yeah. No, they are. I agree. Yeah, I agree with that. I'd agree with that.
So Ilya has to make that decision. So I feel that this is going to happen one of two ways. So if Ilya decides to warn Blake ahead of time, she will do so and let them know of the attack. What I feel is actually, so this is actually like a two-part. So this is getting the second part as a two-parter. So before the attack happens, Ilya is like, "Hey, I want to talk to you about something," and then this pulls both Blake and Sun away because there's no reason that Sun's going to let Blake go alone with Ilya anywhere. And thus the attack, the assassination attempt on Gira and Callie will happen. So the other thing I feel happens is like as the attack's happening, Ilya's like, "Oops, I knocked over a vase," and like sabotages the attack attempt. Or if she warned them about then the guardsmen lay a trap for it, and then they're basically prepared for whenever they come. So, assuming that if Ilya decides to side with Blake and Gira and Callie survive, and they capture, and then thus interred in the chaos, they capture the Fox brother, which they don't even really have to do that. As long as Ilya basically goes public with the knowledge that she has, in my opinion, that would be enough for them to basically get the army that they need to mobilize out to Mistral. So that's my opinion. So the end goal is if Ilya decides to basically air out the White Fang's dirty laundry of what they are doing recently, which Ilya is already like a recognizable public figure to the citizens of Menagerie, they would probably be willing to believe her in what she says. So that's that. Okay, I'm done.
Want me to go?
Yeah,
I've got some thoughts. I'm gonna start with Ruby and Oscar because I just remember this. I made a note about it in new episode discussion. I just reread it. Oscar says he's had that cane for weeks, which means either Osmond was completely wrong or Salem has already attacked, because there's only 4 weeks in a month. They did a time skip without telling us and just paid lip service to it, but honestly, I don't think the scene's gonna amount to anything. I don't think they're even gonna talk about it ever again. I don't think Oscar's gonna run away. I don't think he's gonna bring up these doubts again for a while, until the next time the plot needs some padding. I think, mark my words, I think nothing in this episode is gonna amount to any. I don't think anything in this episode is gonna amount to anything. Moving on to Ilya. She is not going to come to that decision by herself. Otherwise, it would render everything in the Blake portion pointless, because if Ilya was going to come to that conclusion by herself, then she was going to come to that conclusion regardless of Blake's actions. Blake needs to be the instigator in Ilya's change, and a way they can do that, does Ilya know that Salem is involved?
No, that is a definite no.
Yeah.
Does Ilya know about Hazel?
That'd probably be like a 1% no.
Probably not.
Blake tells Ilya that Adam burned down Beacon on behalf of Cinderfall, a human. Mark my words.
That would be a good
That's
one.
going to be the
That would
thing that
actually be a good
instigates Ilya's change and be like, oh wow, the White Fang are helping a human cause.
Yeah.
You know, well, that would actually
Which would also
be...
confirm my theory that they're just giving Adam's that what they had originally written out for Adam, they're just giving it to Ilya.
Yeah.
You see, that would make sense, and I mean, it's reasonable to understand that Blake has some sort of knowledge about, like, maybe that there was more to meets the eye than this attack. That wasn't it? I'm trying to think. No, there wasn't really any mention like on screen that like the White Fang attack was. Well, then again, there was that big speech too, also. So like, still, but
Well,
I'm pretty
Gira
certain.
straight up says that we don't know who all was involved. We just know Adam was.
Yeah.
So as far as anyone on Menagerie goes, Adam was the only instigator in the fall of Beacon.
Yeah.
Well, what you said there, media, where if Blake says like, oh, you know, it's like she was helping out, or like she could honestly say too. Also, it's like, oh, it's like Adam was helping out with a human criminal, and then like just kind of build up a little bit from there wouldn't be bad too. Also,
Bring up Torchwick.
yeah, just to kind of like shake her foundation of belief a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, other than that, I don't think anything's gonna
following Adams or Torchwick's orders the entire time.
kind of. They're all following Cinder's orders, but yeah, I really don't think this entire
But like Torchwick
episode's
was
gonna amount to
basically
anything.
holding the White Fang for a long time, but yeah.
And
So,
Blake doesn't even really need to say like, okay, like she just needs to bring up the fact that like Adam wasn't the one who, like, this wasn't his plan.
Yeah,
Like it's just something that she needs to bring up.
or
It's
Cinders,
like I don't
rather.
like all like they just need to have like a rooftop talk, and it's like, okay, it's like I was there at the Battle of the Beacon. There was something. There were unknown forces at hand playing there, and this all was an Adam. And then like she can mention of like the the lady who was talking over the intercom. It's like I feel like she was in charge. Like she's the one who was actually like responsible for the attack, or the mastermind at least.
yeah. Adam's just her pet.
Yeah. And as for the other plot lines and characters, what is Crow doing? It's been weeks now since he said that he was gonna recruit some huntsmen. But timelines, am I right? Yeah, that's all I'm gonna say.
Hello?
Hello,
Yeah?
media.
Can you hear me?
Did
Is
he get
everybody
out?
else there?
I'm still here.
Okay, so it's just media then.
Yeah.
Like, media's fine because his stuff's recording on his end, so
Yeah.
it should all be good.
Oh, what's this?
What's this? What's this?
What's this?
There's something in the air.
Mm-hmm.
Oh. He
Well,
said it
I
his
mean,
piece, so
can we say our piece? Is
Yeah.
he recording us? Like,
Yes.
I have no idea what's going on right now.
maybe. I don't know.
Because
Yeah, I mean, hold on, actually, I think they all froze.
like, why didn't you come back? Like, you have a portal to me. Like, and then it's gonna
Are you all back now?
Yeah.
Am I
Yeah,
back?
we're back.
and
Okay,
then
yeah,
it's gonna
yeah. You all cut out there for about less than a minute.
Whoops.
Oh wait,
Pretty
okay,
much
and-
right as soon as I sent my message saying I can hear you guys, you all froze.
And
Okay.
then it's gonna cut to Adam at Hot Topic, and he's gonna be trying to buy more zippers for his stupid fucking zipper.
Maybe he's got a lot of cargo pockets in that outfit. Who knows?
Cargo pants.
He's
are
worse than
stupid,
Shadow the Hedgehog.
And cargo shorts are even worse. Okay, Ty. Like,
He's a dad. You could forgive
adult
him.
men don't wear shorts. Okay. All right. But no. In all seriousness, I think, man, like, this
Dude,
episode-
whatever, he has 3 kids and he's wearing cargo shorts and he's like, shit.
Hell no.
I
Fuck that.
have-
never gonna happen. Never gonna happen.
It's gonna be like that scene. We're gonna check up on him. And it's gonna be like that scene from Revenge of the Sith. You were meant to destroy the cargo pants, not wear them.
From my point of view, cargo pants are comfortable.
I have the high top.
No, I have the high storage capacity.
I have the high socks. All right. Anyway, in all seriousness, it's true that like this episode was so bad that it's like throwing off everything that we thought was going to happen. So the thing is, now I feel like because they wasted this much time doing nothing in this episode, I feel more and more like they're going to spend the rest of the first half of this volume just setting things up, for lack of a better word, or at least trying to set things up, I think. So yeah, I do kind of feel like now more than before, I do feel like Weiss, that Freezer Burn is not going to get to RWBY to Team Ranger at this point, and Team Ranger is not going to get to the Bandit Clan by the end of the first half of this volume either. Because there's only 2 more episodes in the first half, so I think I don't even know if we're going to get like Cinder and Co interrupting them. I actually don't think so. I think they're just gonna like have the talk, and then they're gonna leave off on some sort of cliffhanger there, and I don't know if they're gonna even try to go anywhere after that. They're gonna just set up Ilya having to carry out some sort of execution, and I don't think she's gonna make the decision by the end. I think Volume 7's going to just be like a big giant setup episode where everybody's going to look like they're going to be doing, like, getting ready to do things, and nothing's going to happen. Because I honestly think at this point now is where they might bring back in people like, this is where we're going to get Ranger maybe, or at least Crow, going after some huntsmen, and that's where he might run into Winter, and then Snowbird might happen.
And Snowbird.
Snowbird. And then so that's just going to be more setup as well. And then we might actually cut back to possibly Whitley and or Jacques and or Iron Daddy. Just because they're going to be doing more of that setup bullshit, I feel like. Because that's what this episode clued me into, is it feels like they're just going to be setting crap up.
Yeah, because
first half of this volume. Because at this point, when they only have 2 episodes left, they don't have enough time to actually get anything to happen by the end of the first half. So what we all thought before was that, oh yeah, they're gonna go meet at the Bandit Clan. Now it feels like they're not gonna do that, and they're not gonna get to. Not everybody's gonna meet up with the Bandit Clan until the second half of the volume, and that's not great. So this episode is so bad it might have ruined the rest of the season, kind of.
I'm still waiting on,
and that makes it worse than a much needed talk, because at least we had a much needed talk, and then they just moved on from it. Yeah. But
not only that, but that episode is what kind of started the whole Ilya thing. Like, that was the episode that actually introduced Ilya.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is not looking good.
I'm still waiting on the bossing say part of this entire arc.
I know, like we saw some like hints at it, but
we haven't seen Lionheart since episode 2.
Yeah. I think we're gonna cut back to that. We're gonna cut back to Cinder. We're gonna cut back to all of that. Might cut to Atlas. We might cut back to, like, all of that's gonna happen because they're just gonna set up things.
Yeah, I'm expecting in the next episode we're gonna get like bad guys.
Yeah, the one redemptive thing we might get in the next 2 episodes is hopefully they reveal that Ozpin sucks dick. As we all know he does, and he's an asshole. And then Freezer Burn will know that, which is great. And
it's like, I want to see Freezer Burn's like entire take on the entire Ozpin thing. We need the other side of this whole thing.
And maybe because they're spending so much time setting things up, Renora will have time to make out in one of the bedrooms. That'd be fantastic. But otherwise, like,
John goes to his room. He hears boop in the background. He's like, nope.
Boop.
Christmas present for dude. Yeah. So.
All right, I think it's Sock's turn, and then Robert.
Yep.
like as I said, I'm still waiting on the Ba Sing Se part. So as long as we get more of the like bad guys and like mainly just Cinder, Raven, Mama Salem, then I'll be fine. I want to get back to the Frieza burn area. It's the whole like I was like kind of like I had like a smidge of excitement for the whole like training arc thing, but it's just like, hey, we see Ruby just running circles around Ozpin, and Ozpin just kind of like headbutts her, and then and it's like 2 weeks have passed, and he's just swinging a stick, and we've got nothing from that. We've got no like, oh, here's this like if they would show them like an exercise, and then I could understand like, hey, like they're just like then like off screen they could be practicing that like they show them like for us Narutards here like the leaf cutting exercise stuff, you know, or running up trees, you know, the tree climbing exercise, something like any kind
learning how to do
exercise.
Rasengan.
Yeah, or like just anything related to aura. Like right now, all we have is you know you train to keep it up at all times until it becomes second nature, and then but what else can you do with that aura other than just like heal your wounds and have your defense? Is there a way to strengthen it other than just using it? Like maybe Ozpin has some sort of secret technique that he's supposed to be teaching him, but we're not getting that. We're not getting any sort of definitive training kind of thing, other than just you know work up, punch a girl in the face. I don't know.
And we really never have.
Yeah, we've never have. Like we just thought it was just like, okay, you're born with this set amount of aura, or the more you train your spirit, or I don't know. It's some weird physical, mental thing that's going on here. We know some people have way more aura than others, so we don't know if it's a biological thing. We can't really categorize it as anything. But the fact is, if it's something that is so useful and can even be like scientifically harnessed, as is the case with Ironwood's kind of thing, then we should still have ways to train it, increase it, amplify what you can already do. I mean, we've seen like small things like that with like Winter running up walls and stuff like that, but but who's going to teach any of these little, you know, young huntsmen to do any of that? They don't know how. Like other than relying completely on their semblances. But I'm going on a completely different tangent. But we need some sort of like exercise other than just like, hey, we're just gonna punch people in the face. That's about all.
And beating up random students.
Yeah, and telling John he sucks because he can't discover his semblance. Leave the guy alone, okay? He's doing his best. Damn it! He's doing his best.
Yeah. He lost the only female that was interested in him unconditionally.
Well, he has his mother. I mean,
sisters.
You know, John's my favorite character, but like people need to lay off him a little bit. All right, it's like it's just like, haha, you don't have your superpower. It's just like,
I mean, he certainly isn't stealing the show this volume. That's for goddamn sure.
Yeah, he could John could use a little bit more. He's only
got like 5 lines this volume.
Yeah, like John could use some more. He needs some more development. But the more
they were doing so well with making him develop, like you progress.
It's like they keep pushing. It's like they keep pussying out with him and stuff like that. Like volume 1, they were all like, "Hey, you know, this guy's gonna have more to him than just being the lame
self-insert for the audience."
Yeah, he's gonna be more than just the self-insert. He's gonna be more than just, you know, the plucky comic relief. Oh crap, the audience doesn't like that. Haha, just kidding. Okay, maybe now we'll start paying more attention to him. Oh, never mind, the audience states this again, so never mind, just kidding.
It's kind of like what media was talking about before. It's just like his whole like, I'm tired of being the lovable idiot that just, you know, like everyone just laughs at all the time. And he makes strides towards that, and then all of a sudden the writers reel back on him. I feel that does a disservice to Jean, because he's supposed to, we know he's like,
because now we have a new character that things could get over explained to.
Can I just reiterate the fact that it would have been better if Ozpin had just died, and then all the characters had to figure all of this stuff out by themselves? Because then they'd actually be.
It may have been better, but then we've got the whole thing with Stark and Ozpin thing.
I don't know.
Yeah,
but
because then they'd have to be doing actual detective work, and they'd have to be looking for something, and then they wouldn't be sitting around waiting for the plot.
And then we'd have the entire Ba Sing Se thing. We'd have Ba Sing Se.
Crow becomes the new Ozpin.
Yeah, and I like Crow a lot more than Ozpin. I think Let's be honest. I think most people do, not just me.
Yeah.
Crow's everyone's pretty much
Even
everyone's
even
favorite.
people that like Ozpin, I think most people still like Crow.
I mean,
more
I
than
just
Ozpin.
I just had him get captured at the end of Volume 3, and when I did eventually kill him off, I did have Crow replace him for a solid, like, 20 years before
Yeah,
he got
exactly.
replaced by
There you
by
go.
my version of Oscar.
Yeah, but like as soon as we get back to the bad guys and some John stuff and Frieza Burn, the better. That is all I can say about that.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Thank you. So I do think that, yeah, like you said, like this is just totally thrown everything off and stuff like that. And so I guess I'll start with like if they do, I am guessing that they are going to have like the assault on the Belladonna Manor. I think that either Ilya is going to lead Blake away or she's going to catch her or something like that. And I think that one thing that I hope for with this attack scene is so that I would kind of laugh about is that if Sun's not there, and if like Ilya does end up going through with it, or maybe she partially goes through with it and then changes her mind and turns stuff like that. I do think that I think at least one of the Belladonna parents might die. Something that I think would be pretty awesome actually is if it turns out that Gira's not a fighter, but Callie is, and it's one of those funny things that's like, you think she's a sweet woman, but she can kick her husband's ass.
It's sort of like in spoiler alerts for Star Wars, people who watch Star Wars Rebels, not that big of a deal, but oh gosh, what's the RWBY haircut girl's name again?
Sabine?
Sabine, I'd like to speak with the manager haircut girl. Her dad is an artist and her mom is the fighter.
Yeah.
Or
like Bakugo's parents in My Hero Academia, stuff like that. Not really, but like, yeah, I just think it would be hilarious if, Callie ends up kicking a bunch of ass. And but yeah, if Ilya does go through with it or goes through with it partially, I do think that it'll be like at least one of the Belladonna parents will die. I don't think they'd kill off both of them. And it's gonna finally, hopefully, either Ilya's going to take Blake to Mistral, and like that's what the rest of the volume is gonna be, is them on a boat to Mistral. Maybe, who knows? Maybe they'll surprise them and they'll just get us to Mistral right away after that. Give us a 4-month time skip, which I would be honestly probably be fine with.
If Blake is captured and taken to Mistral, I would honestly prefer that at this point.
Yep.
Yeah. Get her to Mistral, and then Sun goes at, and then like Sun and whichever of Blake's parents survives goes with her. I think that would be, I think that could be where that goes. And then if I don't know if I got the same vibe that you did, High Power, but and I do agree, Sock, that I hope that they start giving us like some actual exercises. If they're going to keep padding us. If they're going to keep padding it, at least like clarify on some of this stuff that they should have clarified on all the way back in Volume 1. And also, just going to point this out, people are giving Jean grief for like not having his semblance and for Oscar knowing more about Aura at this point in time than he did when he was his age. Jean was keeping his Aura up throughout the fight with Cardin, like after only a couple of weeks of having his Aura. So screw you guys, Jean's
he doesn't get enough credit. He does not get enough credit. As much as people shit on him, he does not get enough credit.
Yeah, like that's just like that bit of thing is dumb. But if Oscar does end up running, I'm with you, Sock. Like I do think that they need to give us some more of Jean and stuff like that. And I would want like Jean to be the one to find Oscar and basically just be like, you know what? You have not basically. I don't know. Maybe I'm expecting too much from Miles and Carrie here because apparently Carrie Oscar is amazing and stuff like that. But I would hope that it would be Jean basically saying, hey, nobody cares about your shit. He's like, you have not been through nearly as much as we have. You have it so much easier than I did. Nobody cares. Get your ass back here and help us fight because we need you, as much as I hate to admit that because I hate you and Ozpin and stuff like that. I don't know. Something along those lines I think would be a nice little thing. Because I don't think anybody else in Ranger has like, I don't know, the guts to say that. But they probably won't because, oh my gosh, Oscar is just amazing.
He's so cute. Oh my god.
Yeah,
Gag
so I don't know. I don't know where they're going with Ranger. They just
I mean, if
they need to get to the bandits. Just get them to the bandits.
if we keep getting stuff like this, not gonna lie, you won't see me around in podcasts much longer. That's for sure.
Dude's just like, I got nothing but bad things to say. Get someone else.
It's true. It's terrible. I mean, if they saying like after they like they're basically finished with like writing the volume, and they say that Oscar's become one of their favorite characters to write. Like I mean, people can say, "Oh, you're just being spiteful," blah blah blah. Again,
You've already had a blank cut.
I don't actually
Adam.
want Lancaster to happen for two more seasons at least. Even if it did, I would almost. I don't care if that happens or not. I'm not a Lancaster apologist.
Yeah,
Oscar sucks. He's a terribly written character. He's garbage. And Rose Garden is garbage. And like I said, they're just baiting shit now at this point, which is horrible writing.
yeah.
Just this episode is truly wretched.
Yeah,
it's worse because we were all kind of joking, like, "Oh, watch the next episode be bad." We didn't think it was going to be this bad.
Yeah,
be careful what we wish for. You know, there's that
sucks,
there.
because
it comes full circle.
Has actually been pretty good so far, but this episode has just been. Ugh.
Well, it's like it's not that the episode was bad. It's look. Let's just say this. It's not that the episode was bad. There were quite a few bits that heavily affected us, and was like, okay, this is a nice episode. But then you look at it more. You focus more on it. You're like, wait, that doesn't make sense.
Scheme of things.
In the grand schemes of the whole plot, it's like, wait, why are we doing this again?
Okay, yeah,
like, it's a good episode, but wait,
it's the direction that it's showing that the show is going, and that's the big problem.
Yeah,
that's
why
it's so bad. It was an okay episode, but it didn't need to be what it was.
What it implies is worse.
Yeah, that's what I'm.
Yeah,
that's
what right now,
here is what's worse.
Right now, this is the worst episode of the entire series for me.
Yep, I agree. 100%. Worst
yeah, I think
episode of the entire show, even worse than the Jean arc.
At least Jean just introduced Oobleck.
The entire Jean arc is better than this episode because not just the episode itself. Before crazy dumb people say, it's the fact that what this implies is going to happen next is what makes this episode the worst episode by far.
And because at least we got new things from the Jean arc, this gave us nothing new.
Yeah. At least, like,
and it's hurting what happened earlier in the volume.
So some of the other worst episodes, like at least First Step introduced Renora. At least Jean just introduced Oobleck. At least Forever Fall had that hallway talk scene. At least New Challengers looked like it was going to be important. New Challengers, which up to this point was my #1 worst episode of RWBY, but that it didn't descend that low until Volume 3 was over, and you look back on it, and it's like,
exactly,
you could have skipped all that.
New Challengers did imply that the rest of the season was going to suck.
Yeah,
it didn't hurt what happened earlier in the volume.
Yeah,
and at least and New Challengers was only the second episode of the volume.
A long-awaited talk.
Yeah, that was At least
the
Much Needed Talk had some good stuff in it. Like that, that's not even.
I think the worst episode for me was like, despite Coffee like having like this hype, and like I kind of liked them. The fact that way that way all that episode ended was way too anticlimactic for me. That was just like, okay.
Oh, Breach. Yeah, Breach is down.
Yeah, Breach. Breach was the worst for me.
Yeah, Breach.
I liked Coffee, but.
All right, I think we can get ready to shut it down. So.
Yeah, I mean, even the good aspects of this episode are either things that have already been done, or things that are just like little insights on
things that are completely targeted to hit us right in the feels, like the whole combat rate thing. Yeah, that was a low blow, man. You just had to go there. You just had to go there.
So, kind of mellowing out here at the end. If you like this podcast, like, comment, subscribe. Don't hate us too much. We're only giving you our honest thoughts, which is all we can do. And
we didn't want to be this angry, okay?
Yeah,
we don't want to feel this way, guys.
Next week will be better, baby.
Hopefully,
we can hope.
Give me more Mama Raven, please.
Give me Salem. Give me Salem.
We want to be proven wrong.
We'd love if this is like our Avatar podcast. So it's just like, oh my god, it's so good, and then this is good, and then this is even better, and like, come on, I want that. That'd be great.
Yeah.
We want to be wrong.
Yeah.
As we're recording this, it is the 1 year anniversary of my channel, of my first upload on this channel.
Woo!
Congrats.
So by the time you're first watching this, that had been like 2 days ago because we record this on Sundays, and then they get uploaded Tuesday mornings because of the spoiler ban. Yeah, so I have a anniversary and I have a stream, and the stream I think that I did is the best stream I've ever done, mostly because an old like legitimate friend dropped into the chat and started trolling me. That was a lot of fun.
I can always appreciate good shit posting.
Yeah, and I also did a bit of voice acting, so you can check that video out and listen to my awful attempts at voice acting. I do, but for the most part, I do reviews of RWBY and whatever else I decide to make videos on. You could also check out my writings for Beyond, which I'm putting. I'm almost at the. I have the next chapter of RWBY on Home done. I'm holding off on uploading it, mostly because I don't know if I want to do. Because I have two choices as to what the next chapter is going to be. I don't know which one I want yet. Until I figure that out, I'm not going to upload the next chapter. So it might already be up by the time you're watching this. Yeah. Other than that, I've got nothing. Everything I like links in the description of everything else I'm all about.
Alright, so I just want to say on the Discord, we are very close to 100 members, so if we could break that, that'd be good, and especially more active voice posters, that would be even better. Just give me some Raven and some bad guys. Bad guys, like Salem and Cinder.
Watts, something.
And I'll be
They're
good, yeah.
They are going to. It's just going to be setup bullshit.
Yeah, so who knows? Like, let's hope they prove us all wrong here. I want to be wrong.
Yeah.
I want to be flamed
very
in the
much
comments
so.
for the next podcast.
Yeah,
about
I'm
how
fine
wrong
with that.
we were.
Yeah.
It would
Yep.
be better if they just like made this episode make absolutely no sense, and then it goes back to what everything would look like was going to happen before.
Yeah,
It's like,
it
wait.
goes back to moving at the speed that things were already moving, which.
Yeah, that'd be preferable to what we think is going to happen based on.
Mhm.
Yep.
All right, so I'm done, and I'm
Yeah, I don't have
keyed out.
anything.
Yeah, I don't have anything, so yeah.
All right,
I'm just working on my magical girl thing.
done.
Oh yeah,
Looking
your
forward to
magical,
Yeah,
your magical girl boy thing.
yeah, that's a thing.
You're writing a Fuda?
I was trolled in the polls. The polls trolled me.
When you have to write a trap character.
Well, not exactly. Well, like I'm debating on whether it's just a magical guy that's in a magical girl world, or if it's more of a, or it's more like a camphor kind of thing, where it's a dude would uses the item, it transforms him into a girl.
It needs to be like that one anime where it's like the guy like I forget what the anime was, but he's like a zombie, but then like he steals like this other magical girl's power pretty much, and then he runs around in her outfit and stuff. He's like, man, I really hate this, but this is the only way to get things done from time to time.
Is this a zombie? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, no, the main character is a zombie.
Yeah.
And he steals. I forget the name of the anime. And it's hilarious. And
I think the title is like is this a zombie?
or I guess I don't know.
I'll look it up. I'll look it up. But I've got to do that whole thing. I've got quite a few chapters lined up already.
Well, I look forward to the next episode, and I want to be super wrong. So good night to everyone.
Salud.
Anyone else got anything
Nope.
to say?
Nope.
All right.
Oh well.
Have a good night.